Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Shivam and today is our 12th lecture of covering basic of Python from the basic. So in today's lecture we will cover about abstraction. What is abstraction? Next topic is encapsulation. So in the previous video we have seen how we can do method overriding and what is method overloading and what are multi-level inheritance, how we can do multi-level inheritance in the class, how derived class is derived from the base class, what is superclass and what is initializing and how we can initialize the variable, how we can define the object. All these we have covered in the previous lecture. If you have not watched that video, so you can watch that video. So today's topic is data hiding and encapsulation. So basically data hiding means abstraction. So without wasting our time, let us start. So first line says that object oriented programming has evolved to overcome the limitation of procedural programming approach where data was available everywhere. Means in procedural programming language, data is available anywhere, anyone can abstract the data, but in object oriented programming we can hide our data. So the data is given highest priority in the object oriented programming and is hidden to avoid irrelevant usage by the function that accidentally modify the data and thus produce enormous data. Means in our object oriented programming language, the data is the highest priority by which our all the program work. Our information data we can hide from the external sources, or we can prevent it from accidental usage, or if there is any misunderstanding in function and the function accidentally change our data, so object oriented programming saves us from that type of glitches. Next is one of the fundamental concepts which provide data hiding in object oriented programming are data abstraction, means hiding unnecessary fully data and showing only relevant data. Next is data encapsulation. So first we will discuss something about data abstraction, then we will discuss something about data encapsulation. So data abstraction refer to act of representing essential feature without including the background detail and explanation. As I have said you that data abstraction is only showing the necessary information and hiding the unnecessary information. Let us consider an example of switchboard. You can only press certain switches according to your requirement. What is happening inside, how it is happening, you need not know. Means like the switch is in your home from which the fan is on, the fan is off. So the process beside this you never notice how the fan is on, what are the wire used inside that switches. So this is called data abstraction, means only relevant data you know, that this is the switch, how we can on this, how we can off this. This is abstraction, you only know necessary thing to operate. Next is data encapsulation. It is the way of combining both data and function that operate on data under a single unit. It means combining data and method together that will be operated. In this, data is not accessible to outside world directly. Means the outside world cannot access our data, or the programmer which is doing code on our program cannot access our data directly through the function. It can be accessed only through the member function. Means in the function which is described, only in that function it can be accessed, not outside that function. This insulation of data from direct access by the program is called data hiding. So when we hide our data from the external usage, this is data hiding. Abstraction and encapsulation are complementary concepts, where abstraction focuses upon the observable behavior of an object and encapsulation focus upon the implementation that give rise to this behavior. So I think now you have the clear difference between the data encapsulation and abstraction. So let us see this MCQs type question, and the four statement are written. So you should tell this which statement is correct, which statement is incorrect. First is the object oriented programming evolved to overcome the limitation of procedural programming approach. Yes, this is the correct line, as we have also read this in the first or second line, that the object oriented programming evolved to overcome the limitation of procedural programming language. So in our object oriented programming, we create class, we create object. Python, C++ are object oriented programming, whereas C language is not object oriented programming. Next is data abstraction, refer to the act of representing essential feature without including the background detail. Yes, it is also correct that abstraction is to show only the necessary information. Data encapsulation is the way of combining both data and function that operate on the same data under a single unit. Yes, it is also correct that encapsulation means binding data and method together inside the same function or the single unit. The insulation of data from direct access by the program is called data hiding. Yes, this is also correct. We have read this here. Data encapsulation is the way of combining data and function together. This is called encapsulation, and the insulation of data from the direct access is called data hiding. This is data hiding definition. Next is, you can see here all the options are correct, all four are correct. Next is data hiding public private access modifier. Means what are public modifier, what are private modifier, how we can access public modifier, how we can access private modifier. So as the name suggests, public means which can be accessed through any public, means outside the world, and next is private, when we can be accessed through the function only, or which is kept safe, which is private. So now we will understand how we can make public variable, how we can make private variable. These both are separate access modifier. An object oriented programming can be restricted to access the method and variable which prevent the data from being modified by accident. So it is saying that we can make our variable private and public. When we make our variable private, so it can be accessed through outside the function also, but when we will make it private, it will be accessed through the function. So next is, here it is written that the access modifier spotted out, means there are two type of access modifier. First is private, second is public. So first we will study about the private variable. A private variable can only be accessed by the method of the same class and not outside of the class. These variables start with double underscore. For example, double underscore, then the variable name, comma, double underscore, then again the variable name. It is saying that a private method can be accessed only by the other method within the same class. Such methods start with two underscores, as I have said you that these are two underscore, not a single underscore. So it is saying whenever we need to make our variable private, so in the starting of that variable we should make or create two underscore. So for example, define or double underscore, then our method name. So we can make our method name also private. These are the variables. So next is public variable. A public variable can be accessed from anywhere, means inside the class, out or by another function. It can be accessed from anywhere. A public method can be called from anywhere. It can be called anywhere, it can be accessed from anywhere. There is no specific word or character to represent the public modifier, as we normally make our variable. So public variable are like those variable. Anything that does not have double underscore is a public variable or a public method. So now you have the clear difference between the public variable or private variable. Here there is one example, like there first we have the class name car. In this we have initialized a method define in itself comma model. We need to make this model variable private, so we will write self dot double underscore model is equal to model. Now this variable is a private variable. Then define dash dash double underscore display model self. Now this method is also a private method. As I have said you that we can make our method and variable both private and public. So next we will let print model self dot underscore model. So this is how we can call our private method. But remember one thing, when you call the private variable, you should also write this double underscore before you call that variable. So next we will make a function define show, and inside this we will pass self. Inside this we will access our method which is private self dot double underscore display model. It is same as when we call our private method also we use double underscore accessing the private method inside the class. Means this private method can be accessed through this class, but outside this class this private method cannot be accessed. Next is car is equal to we are making the object for this class car is equal to car Toyota, means this model is named as Toyota. Next we will say that car dot show, then it will work and call the private method internally. But when you directly write car dot double underscore display model, it will give you error, and the error it will give you that private method not accessible from outside. Now this class is over here. When you call this private method outside this class, this cannot be accessed. It will give error that private method cannot be accessible from outside. But inside the class you have make another method which name is show, and inside that method you have call this define display dot model, means this is a private method you have called inside that class. So now this function this method show can call this and can access the value of this, same as here the private variable. This private variable is accessed only inside that class. Now you have write self dot model, and in the private method which name is display model you have access this private variable, and this private method and private variable are now accessible through the method show. This method show is not private, so it can be accessed outside. So when you access it outside the class, first it will access this private method and take the value of model, then it will show you. But when you directly call, it will throw an error to it. Here it is also given a note that Python does not have protected variable or method which specifies the variety that can be used by the derived class. Means it cannot also be used by derived class, so it can be accessible only inside the that class which have its right to function. Next are these MCQs type. There are 5 lines, so we have to check that which option is or which correct statement is correct from the given questions. First is, when we write an object oriented Python program, we can restrict the access to method and variable. Yes, it is right, we can restrict the access by making the variable or our method private. Next is, a private variable can only be accessed by a method that is of the same class, not outside the class. Yes, this is also right, that the private method can only be accessed through the class, not outside the class. A private method can be called by a method of any class. No, this is wrong. A private method cannot be called by a method of any class. It can be called only by that class only. Next is, a public variable a method can be accessed from anywhere. Yes, as the name suggests public, so it can be accessed from anywhere outside the class also. Python has protected variable or method which specify the variable and method can be used by the derived class. Here derived class can also not use the method, as it is here written in the note. You can take screenshot also of this, that the private method or variable cannot be accessed through the derived class also, so it can be accessed only that class. Next is our, so you can see the answer to this question is first, second and fourth are correct. The wrong one are, a private method can be called by a method of any class if it is saying by any method of that same class. so it will be right. So it is saying by a method of any class, so it cannot be called outside the class. Next is Python as a protect variable. As I said you that derived class can also not use the protected variable or the protected method. Next we some coding type question that uses the private variable. How we can make the private variable? Now it will be very clear to us. So here we have to write a simple program that define private variable inside a class and method that can access them. So first we have to define a class student. Okay, our first step is we can define easily, we have studied this. Next is we have to define two private variable, group and report, with default value ECE and fail. Means the group value should be ECE and the report should be fail. Okay. Next is define init self comma name comma age method that set the name age of the student. Yes, we can also do that. Next is define a method set detail that will be self, means that will call these two private variable inside this, that set group and report both private variable, means these are private. How we know that these are private variable? Because in front of this there are two double underscore. Next is we have to define get detail self that will print all the detail of the student, means name age group and report. Next we have to take name age group report pass or fill. So report will have only two option, pass or fill, from user as input. Next is we have to create object using the constructor and call this method set detail and get detail method. So here it is saying that you can access s1.age s1.name from outside as they are public attribute, but if you try to access s1. This group s1. The report, you will get the following message, means student object has no attribute. This here it will give you an error. So let's try this question. First you should pause the video and try it yourself. If you stuck anywhere, you can see the explanation of this code. So this is the solution. First, this also tell us in comment that what we have to do, so we did not need go back to the question again and again as the question is long. So first we have to define a class which name is student, so class student. Next we have to define two variable which are private, group report with the default value. So we will define the variable. Here we will write double underscore group comma double underscore report is equal to, so EC comma for fail. So the first value is EC which will go to this group, second value is fail which will go to this report. These are the default value. If the no value is given, so this default value will be used in, but if the value is given, so this default value will not be used. Next we have to define the initialization method inside this class student, which will take name and age as input, name and age as a parameter. So define def underscore underscore init underscore underscore, as I have told you the syntax of this initialization constructor. And then we will write self dot name is equal to name, self dot age is equal to age. When you define this, the one thing to basically note is that indentation, how we can give the proper spacing. Like after the class student we have to give a tab space, means we have to enter tab. A tab means 4 spaces, one tab is equal to 4 spaces. And when you define a method, so you will give 2 tab, means one for this and one for this class. So just take a note of that. The proper indentation should be, because if there is no proper indentation, so the compiler will give you an error. Next is define this set detail method with two private variables, means next we define this set detail variable which will given the value self comma group comma report. So this also defined inside the class, these two private variable, and this method is also defined inside that class. So we can access these two private variable inside this method. So we will write self dot group is equal to group, self dot report is equal to report. Next we will define a method get details. Inside this we have to pass only one argument, self. So we will print self.name, self.age. These two methods will be directly called because these are public variable. Next is self.group self comma report. So it will not give us an error because this method is also defined inside this class and this method is also defined inside this class. So we can access the private variable or the private method inside the same class. Next is we have to take input from the user. So first we will take name as input, then we will take age as input, then we will take group, then we will take input from the user. These four are the input and these two are given the initial value also or the default value. Is the user will not provide any, so the default value will be used. Next is we have to print the student report card. First we will create the object for that class or the instance of that student class. For this they have given us the instance name s1, so we will let s1 is equal to, then we will call our student class and pass name and age as variable. Next we will call the set detail method with group and report as argument, means these two, group and report. Set one s1 means this object dot set details, means this method inside which we can call these two private variables, group comma report. Next we will call the get detail method which will print all these name, age, group and report of the student. So this is how you can make a private variable, how you can make a private method, how one method can access the another method which is private, how by accessing the private method through a public method, how we can access that public method outside from the class and print the detail of the private method also. So this is the main concept of object oriented programming language. Next is understanding abstraction. So we will now read what is abstraction, how it works. Think of a remote control car. When you press a button to move or stop without knowing how the motor or the circuit work, means in the remote control car there is two buttons, start and stop. When you press the start button it will start, when you press the stop button it will stop. You did not know the working of that. Here we did not need to know how the car will work or how the motor will work. The main thing to understand here is to connect you from the real world object, how things in the real world object work and how things in the Python interpreter work. So next this is the main thing. So same as in abstraction, you did not need to know the unnecessary information, you just need to learn the necessary information. Okay. Abstraction is the concept of hiding unnecessary detail and showing only the essential feature to the users. This I have told you a number of times. It allows you to focus on what object does rather than how it does, means it will make us clear focus on that what is the work of this, not how it is doing that. Like you just need to know the car is moving or not, you do not need to know how it is made or how it is working in the background or how the motor or the circuit work inside that car. You just need to know the intra or the essential features. The internal implementation is hidden, just like the car engine is hidden from the user or the remote. So what is the main difference between abstraction and the encapsulation? So I will zoom out it so you can read it properly. The main difference is like here, one time, yes, what it hide. Encapsulation will hide internal data of an object, but abstraction will hide the implementation or detail of the method. Abstraction will hide how the data is stored, or it will only hide that method or that object, but it will hide how the data is processed in that method. Next is how it is done through private or protected member, like we have learned a few minutes ago, how we can make a private member, how we can make a public member. This is through method or abstract classes. Now we have to make the classes abstract. We will see how we can make our class abstract. So we will see by an example. You can also see that example here. abstraction with regular class. You can achieve abstraction by hiding internal detail in the class and providing method to interact with the object. So here is one example. We will see this example. First we will make a regular class defined string abstraction. Here the regular class name is car, class car. Then we will define a method initialization and will not pass any argument inside it. Instead of this we will make a private variable inside this and pass as self dot private variable engine status is equal to off, means hidden attribute internal detail. The engine is off, this is internal attribute. We did not need to pass it as parameter because it is internal feature. Next is public method to interact with the car. How we can interact with the car? So for this we will define another method start and we will pass self. So inside this we will again make a private variable which is engine status. Now the engine status is on and we will print car started, means when the engine status is on the message will be printed as car started. Next is we will define the another method stop and inside this we will pass the parameter only self. Next is engine status is off, then it will print car stop. Initially the engine status is off as the car will be stopped, so initially it will print off and it is hidden that first it will print off. Then we have defined two public method which will interact with car, means start and stop. When the car is start it will print the method car started, but when it is stop it will print the message car stopped. So we will make the instance of this class as my car and we'll call this car class here. Then when we will call this method start my car dot start, it will print the output as car started. But when we call the method stop my car dot stop, it will print the message that car is stopped or car stopped. Here what is the main thing that you cannot access internal engine status directly, means this engine status is not accessible directly. Like here we have not passed any argument that we can access it. Is like a internal hidden feature, like the engine is hidden inside the bonnet of the car, so it is hidden that firstly the engine status is off and you cannot access. Like how you can access if there is anything that how you can access this, you can tell me in comment. There is no way you can access this because it is private and it is not passed through an argument or an parameter. So when you will print my car dot underscore underscore engine status, this will give an error. If you think that you will directly call this, so this is not any parameter, so this will give you an error. Here the important thing is to note that engine status is hidden from the user because it is internal detail. As here engine status, this is hidden. It is also written in command that hidden attribute internal detail. Print my car. Next is user interact only start and stop method, means these two methods which are public method. This is abstraction without using abstract classes, hiding complexity and showing only necessary data. Here we need to show that the car is on or off, so these are the necessary detail. This engine status which is internal detail is not necessary to show to the user, so this is called abstraction. Here we have make abstraction through our simple classes. Here we did not use any abstract classes. We will also see that how we can use abstract classes. Here a note is given that in Python we use this approach less often, means this approach is less often used. Most of the time we use the ABC module with the abstract class and method, which we will learn in the later lesson as I will do. Means this method is less used. The commonly used method is next we will learn. So here it is given a question that why can't a user access this engine directly in the car class. So these are the four options. You should tell me why and which option is correct. First we will read the first line. Because Python does not allow attribute. No, because it is hidden to implement abstraction. Yes, this option is correct. as it is internally hidden, and where we have implement the abstraction. Next is because the class is abstract. No, because it uses inheritance. There is no use of inheritance here, so this option, so the correct option will be this second, because it is hidden to implement the abstraction. Next is abstract class ABC model. Python provides a formal way to implement abstraction using ABC model. Means we can make our class abstract by writing the ABC model. Abstract class means blueprint that cannot be installations, and abstract method that can define what should be done but not leave how. Means abstract method can be defined inside the normal class, but we can make our class also abstract. How we can make our class abstract? Like here we have created from ABC, means from small abc import capital ABC comma abstract method. Then class vehicle means in this parameter, in regular class we will leave this blank, but in abstract class we will write here ABC, then at the rate abstract method. Then we will simply define our method like we define in the regular classes. Here vehicle is the blueprint for all the classes, means this vehicle is the blueprint of all the classes. Next is start is an abstract method, means this start is an abstract method. Every subclass must implement them. Next is implementing a subclass. Let's create a specific variable, means class car, and this vehicle means this class car is abstract from this class vehicle. Then we will define a method define start self print car started with a key. Here car is a subclass of vehicle, means this class is the derived class. It implement the abstract method start, means this method is also here start. Next is user can now interact with the car using the start method without knowing the engine detail. So here the main motive of this is we can also make our class abstract by writing this, or we can make our method abstract like we have make in the previous by making it private or public. So here is using the subclasses, like we can also use this subclass for making the object or instance of the classes. Here from user perspective everything is simple, just call start, means we have to just call our start. Here everything is normal like in the normal classes. This is abstraction hiding complexity. So now we have one task, an abstract class appliance, means we have to make a abstract class appliances which to abstract method turn on and turn off is given to you, means they have provided us. Your task is to create a subclass, means we have to create a subclass washing machine that inherit from applicants. Means first we should create a class applicants, from there we should create a subclass washing machine, implement the abstract method, means this turn on and this turn off method. So turn off method will have two parameters self comma time. We should print the washing machine started in the this x, where x is the time which we will take from the input. Then same as turn off. Here one thing to be noticed that the object creation and the method call are already provided in the main program. So how you can solve this is, this question seems to be very big, but this is very simple. Like we have to write this import line from small abc import capital ABC comma abstract method, means this is an abstract method. Next we will create an no need to write this import time abstract class, because these all are written in comment. Next we will write class applicants, means we will create an class applicant, but in now this time in the parameter we will write ABC, means this abstract. Then we will write at the rate abstract method. So this is the main thing to write when you make an class and abstract. From ABC import ABC comma abstract method, then the name of the class, and then in parameter you will pass A, B and C, then at the rate abstract method. Then we will define a function define turn on, and we'll write pass, then Again, when we define another method, so we have to write @abstract method. Then we will define the another function turn off. Then we will give the value pass. Next is we have to make subclass implementing all the abstract method. It means all these are abstract method. Now we will make a class washing machine which will be derived from this class applicants. So we will now call this define turn on method. Then we will pass self comma time and that print washing machine started in, then in curly braces means this time on method. This time on method will pass this time. Then define turn off, then print washing machine stopped in this time off. Then we will make our main program is this. We will make the instance of this class, means this washing machine class. We will make the instance. Then we will take time on time off as the input from the user. Then we will call from our this object wm dot turn on means this, and will pass the time as the time on. And then we will take wm dot turn off, and this time off means when the washing machine stop, we will taken as a input from the user. So this is how we can make the our class abstract. So I think that now it is clear how we can make our class abstract, or how we can make our method abstract, what are private variable, what are private method. Next is we have one question. We will solve this like even and odd element of the list using inheritance. So here I will simply tell you that we have to create a class parent, implement a class parent that will initialize the method, and add a method evenly that will return list containing only the even element. Means in here we need to create two class. First is parent class, second is child class. The child class is derived from the parent class. In parent class we have to return the element which are only even and will return the list of that element. But in child class we will return the odd element list. The list we will take from the user as the input, and the output of this will be the even number filtered from the input list, and the second line will be the odd number which will be taken from the child class. So here first we will create the class parent, and inside this we will pass self.lst. This lst is the parameter. Then we will define a method define even element. Then we will return x for x in lst, means in this lst there is any x. If that x is divided by 2 and give us 0, then return that x. This is list comprehension method. We have studied 2-3 videos lecture earlier. Like return x means we have to return x. For x mean any number of x in this list, means in list there will be 1 2 3 4 5. So we will return the x only that will be divided by 0. Then we will make a class child which is inherited or which is derived from the parent class. Then we will make another method defined odd le, and then we'll pass self. Then same as now in the child class we have to return the element which are odd. So we will write return x for x in self.lst. means in this self.lst we have to return that element if x percentage 2 means x modulo 2 not equal to 0. If x modulo 2 is not equal to 0 means that element is not divisible by 2, and if it is not divisible by 2 it will be an odd element, so we have to return that element. Next we will take the our list from the input from the user. So we will write lst is equal to int x for x in input dot split, means in this list will be integer type x for x in input dot split. This split will make the list splitted by comma. Then the main program is here. We will make the object for this class child. We will write object is equal to child and pass this list as the parameter, means this list will go here. Then it will check if the element is even or if the element is odd. Next we will call these two method. Print object means this object dot evenly. This method print object dot oddly means if the object is even, it will be printed in the first line. If the element are even, this will be printed in the second line. So I hope now you understand this object oriented programming concept. This is the main concept of Python programming. So if you did not understand this question, you can revive the video. Thank you and have a nice